What's up, guys? We are back for another Marvel Legends X-Men review, taking a look today at one of the quintessential 90s X-Men characters. And when it comes to this wave, that is obviously Jubilee. So we've got Jubilation Lee here in our standard Legends packaging. You can see her there in the window. We have got all of her accessories. We got the Build-A-Figure torso. We've got the logo down there on the bottom. We've got some artwork of her on the side, on the back, with a write-up, as well as our lineup for the wave. So let's do it. Let's pull her out and take a look. All right, and here she is, the final of what I am considering the big three when it comes to this wave. So Beast, Gambit, Jubilee, classic, iconic, essential 90s versions of characters, and Jubilee is the obvious choice for a 90s X-Men figure. This is an interesting figure because she's got some cool new stuff going on. There's one glaring omission for me personally, but I do think we've got a cool figure here, and for someone like me who has no Jubilee figures, not any figures whatsoever except really old stuff, not Legends of any kind. You know, I don't have the Build-A-Figure, which I don't care for anyway, but we've got what is obviously the iconic version of this character, the one that matters, the one that means the most to the most people. So let's jump in, see what she can do, see how some of these new parts work. So we've got a head that can go backwards, and she has a really large ball peg, which is really tight on my figure. It doesn't seem to bother anything or matter, but, you know, just pointing it out. She goes down, side to side. Arms go out, they rotate. You've got a single rotating elbow, so of course she's a female. She's not going to get double jointed elbows, as is the norm. She's got up and down hinge on her left hand and rotation. She has got side to side hinge and rotation on her right hand. And then we have got an upper diaphragm twist, so she can go side to side, back and forth. Pretty good. The jacket does get in the way a little bit. It just adds to the friction and resistance. And you've got a waist twist as well. We have got legs that go out. They kick forward. They don't really go back. She hits her own butt right away. Thigh cut, double jointed knees. And then we have got a boot cut, because she actually has boots. And then we've got a rocker and hinge down there at the ankle. So she's pretty well articulated, especially for a Marvel Legends female. You know, I'm not really going to complain about her articulation at all. The only real thing is that, again, we still don't have double jointed elbows, which does anybody expect them? And then her head is kind of tight, but it doesn't really hinder or affect anything. She moves pretty well, all things considered. Now for the aesthetics, the overall look and feel on this figure, I think for the most part Hasbro has really nailed it. So, you know, we've got a very essential, a very 90s character that is done up in a very 90s style. So she's got the jorts on, you know, the kind of short shorts. We've got really bright, vibrant colors like electric neon colors, which was always a thing in the 90s. So you've got the really bright yellow jacket, which I think looks really great on her. It does hinder articulation a little bit, but the looks definitely outweigh any negatives there for me. We've got the kind of electric blue gloves that match the boots, sculpted detail on all of those. There's no paint on any of it, but it doesn't really need it either. Her look was very saturated single color look, so I think that's all right. And then as far as I know, the crotch and the upper thighs are all new. The entire legs may be new as far as I know. You know, I'm not the person to ask when it comes to that kind of stuff. But these do appear to be new. I've never seen them before anyway. So you've got kind of the blue jean shorts going on with the belt. We've got the cuffs are rolled up here. And then you've got some pockets that are sculpted on the back. The shirt is done up in that really bright neon pink. And I'm not sure if it's easy to pick up or not on camera, but there is a tonal difference here. The actual stomach ab region is not the same shade of pink as the upper torso, as the chest. So it's a little different. It's odd, and it's not all that noticeable, but when you look at it long enough, it definitely pops out at you. And then we've got a little emblem painted gold with some clasps painted gold as well. And that kind of leads up to the actual head as well, which has that same kind of emblem done up for her earrings, which looks pretty good. Some gold paint up there to kind of break up just the standard head sculpt. And then, of course, we do have the head itself, which I think is pretty good. You've got the glasses that are, I don't believe they're sculpted on. They seem to be glued on because I've kind of popped them off already by mistake. And they're just translucent pink. You've got her eyes underneath there. Really saturated, bright red lips. If I have one gripe about the head and, well, both heads in this particular figure, she looks a little too angry. One angry face would have been good, but I think they both very much have kind of a stern, furrowed brow look, which really doesn't come across 100% what I want. but it definitely does look like her when she's angry. So I guess, you know, I can't fault him for doing the look correctly. I just wish I had maybe a more stoic, standard look that doesn't have the furrowed brow, or maybe just one where she's smiling, because, you know, Jubilee wasn't necessarily always a brooding character. So we do have a pretty decent head sculpt, just it's kind of stuck in a slightly angry expression. Now for accessories, this is where I feel like we're kind of losing on what we should have gotten. So we've got a couple things, and don't get me wrong, I'm happy with what they gave us. I just kind of wish we had the one thing that she should have had. So we've got an extra head here, and this guy has the bubble gum coming out of it, which I think is a cool idea for an extra head sculpt. I think it's done pretty well. She still, just like the regular head, still has kind of that stern, like she's angrily chewing this gum, angrily and uninterestedly chewing this gum. I'm not sure how it's in there. It seems kind of flimsy. I can't imagine it's part of the head sculpt. It seems like it's likely glued on there, because it does feel kind of rubbery. It feels like a different kind of plastic, but it looks pretty good. I mean, it's convincingly bubblegum. And then you have got some glasses for this particular head sculpt as well. And what's odd is that they give us two different sets of glasses, and I'm not sure if this is one of those things where they gave us glasses because they think we're going to lose them. You know, I probably would, but you can just pop them on and they sit on just fine. And I've heard folks mention previously, like prior to actually getting these, that one was going to be for her to actually sit them over top of her head, and they definitely don't do that. They will not stretch that far. I mean, the iconic Jubilee look is actually to have them like on her forehead, and I can't get them to do that at all. So I'm not sure if that was any intent whatsoever, but these seem to be the exact same thing. There's no way that these are going to sit over top of her hair, you know, on her, just on the top of her head like you would normally do with sunglasses. They don't really fit. They stretch way too far. That doesn't look good, right? So we've got a couple things, you know, basically they gave you a complete head sculpt compared to the first one. I wish we had something else, and that other thing would be effect pieces. Her hands come in an effect style posed way. So, you know, she's ready to have some kind of fireworks thrown off of there. And what I've seen so far from folks is that they are using things like Dazzler's effects, which I was pretty happy to do, but I don't really think they work all that well because they come from the fingers, not from, you know, the palms of the hand. So you've got like Dazzler's effects. And then something that I've seen other folks, and I know Robo over on the Whoosh has mentioned this as well, is to use the White Ranger's power effect from his figure from the Lightning Collection, because I'm never going to use this on his figure. I think it's kind of an odd effect piece. So you can actually kind of put her fingers into the little slot on there, and it looks kind of like a blast is coming out. I don't think it works all that well, but I'm not sure I have many other things that work anyway. I know some third-party folks and customizers are already working on things for this, but I think that is a really glaring omission. So overall, I like the figure at a base level. My only real gripe with Jubilee is that I think that she should have come with the effect pieces. Of course, I do think that her face has kind of a scowly look on it when she probably shouldn't be on at least both heads, but I will take what we got, and I'm pretty happy with it overall. I do think that this is, you know, one of those quintessential 90s figures that a lot of folks have been waiting for, myself included. She is very close to adding a complete set of X-Men, so, you know, this is one more notch in the belt, basically, that we've got to go through, and I think Hasbro did a good job on delivering some new stuff, some really, really 90s aesthetics with this figure, and in general, she's just a good toy. I just don't think she has everything she actually needs to make the complete package. I need those fireworks on the fingertips, but overall, she's a fun toy. So that's going to do it for this look at the Marvel Legends Jubilee figure. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.